morning. It's Leanne Peters here. I'm from Temple of Balance and I am here to um, host this personal healing event for some of my patrons, my Temple of Balance patrons on Patreon. So I have 6 people on the list today, and as usual, I have you in my little frog pot. So I'm going to connect with each of the 6 people directly and personally. That's why it's called the Personal Healing Event. So I'll be doing that. I can't and won't be adding any new people to the list today. If you want to be on the list for next month, then you'll need to become a patron. So at the $50 level or higher, you automatically get access to this resource, plus all the ones that come before, which are quite a few. So have a look if you're interested. The link is in the video description. Good morning. Hi, Tony, and hello, Jackie. Welcome. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be plucking names out of my pot. As I pick each person, I'm going to pull a healing energy card. So I've got my healing energy cards here. This is my upgraded original deck, and then it's combined. As you know, if you watch my videos, you might know I love to combine decks. So I've combined with Healing Energy Cards deck 2. That's my newest deck that was out, released in 2023. Probably my last deck too, I would say. So I'm satisfied with my deck, so I'm not really feeling any urge to make any new ones. But who knows? So I'll be pulling a card at the beginning, a card at the end of every connection. I'll be connecting with each person for approximately 10 minutes. And what I'll be doing is tuning into the person that I'm connecting with, whatever's loudest in your energy. If it's you I'm connecting with or someone else, whatever's loudest in their energy is going to get my attention first. That's just the way the energy works. So whatever's loudest is going to come to the forefront for me, and then I'm going to sort of move through into that energy. So I know if I can't move into it, then I'm blocking, or not blocking, I'm not interpreting the energy accurately. So I need to make sure I'm interpreting properly. That will open the energy up, that then allows me to access new energy or further into whatever it is that I'm exploring for each individual. So that reminds me too to mention that I can't not share something that I pick up, because if I even chose not to, it's going to block, and then I'm not going to be able to access what I need to access. So as soon as the energy blocks up or stops, I haven't quite got the right message, or I haven't quite got it right. So I'm feeling on that, and then I express that as best as I can. And as the energy moves and unfolds, then I know I must be sort of hitting it fairly accurately as I'm moving forward. So I'm not holding anything back. I couldn't do that. It would just block everything. So sometimes the information comes through quite blunt, but I just have to trust that it needs to be said, whatever it might be. So as I tune in, I'm feeling energy in my body. I actually, will flow with that. So I think that's all I really need to say. I'm going to get started. If you're not the person I'm connecting with at the beginning here, then I invite you to be open to receiving what you need. I'm sure it's no accident that you happen to be here. So let's see what happens. The first person I'm connecting with today is this person. It's Susan. Susan Sonsteng. Please take a nice big breath. Thanks, Jackie. It's lovely to connect with you again after our wonderful day yesterday, which reminds me I've got to get those recordings up onto YouTube for you, which I will do after this. So the best card to start this connection with you, Susan, is... So I'm already, as I'm tuning in, I'm already feeling a breathless energy that's coming through in the chest or in the lungs. So there's energy moving through here. The first card is for you, Susan. is card 9, accomplishment. So this is about stopping and noticing how far you've come. So acknowledging where you find yourself on your journey today, even though there's still a lot to do and a mountain to climb. Sometimes we can get lost in that and not realize that we've actually come quite a long way. So this card's reminding you to stop and look at the view of where you find yourself, because you might, and often we are, surprised at how far we've come. It can feel like we're not making any progress, but if we look back, which is another great reason to write in a journal, if we look back in our journal or we just reflect back, we might be able to see, hey, I've actually come a long way. So that's the energy that's starting this connection off, Susan. But I'm drawn here to your chest, so which is in the area of your heart chakra, but I'm very much drawn to your lungs and your breathing. So the breath energy is really strong here, and it feels a bit wheezy. It feels a bit shallow, the breathing. It feels like life force isn't really getting fully into your body through your breath. It feels like I can only breathe in a very shallow way right now. So something's blocking or something's congesting here over your heart chakra energetically. Something's pushing in, and it feels like a pushing in on two sides, like a couple of airbags going off in a vehicle, and the airbags are pushing in on this side, on the sides here of your heart, and kind of compressing in this area. So it feels like it's pushing in from the sides, and like something's coming in to buffer, to protect, to shield, to arm, to wall. It could be even walls here on the sides that are coming up here, that feel like they're pushing in on the sides of your heart, and especially your lungs, but because this is the area of your heart. Let me just look a bit further into this. So it's actually quite difficult to breathe and talk. It feels very shallow, like the breath here. So there's something more here that we need to talk about. It also feels like, so if your lungs were like a balloon, it feels like there's like a little prick of a hole in your lungs, or a prick of a hole in the balloon energetically that's your lungs, which is bringing more of the air out in that way rather than through the breath and through the breathing mechanism itself, if you like. I laugh because mechanism sounds hilarious for breathing, but that's okay. So it feels like there's some energy escaping. There's some energy that's being released. It doesn't feel like it's working at its fullest capacity. Your especially the energy of your lungs, but around your heart. So let's just look a bit further into this as well. So your heart chakra, this is your center for love, love of self, love of others, love of life, love of all creation. It's things that hit us or touch us personally, we tend to hold here in our heart. So it's a very personal and in some ways private space here, the heart chakra itself. But it's our place really where we feel, where we give, where we receive love. Now, as I talk about that giving and receiving love, there's a heavy energy that's also getting my attention here in your lung area, in your heart area. Oh, I just was able to take a nice big breath. So there's something here about giving and receiving, the balance. And maybe there's something going on, Susan, where you perhaps feel or have noticed that you're not, there's a lack of balance in some ways in regards to this giving and receiving. Maybe you're giving, and there's something lacking in the receiving front. That's usually how it goes. So there's probably this imbalance of giving and receiving that you're perhaps noticing in yourself, and perhaps in a relationship or some relationships or connections that you have at the moment. Because as I talk more about this giving and receiving energy, the energy wants to, well, it's getting my attention in regards to a heaviness, but it's also wanting to draw out and push across and out through those sort of airbags that I was feeling before that really are compressing in on the side. So the energy is coming down and across, talking about the giving and receiving. So there's an opening up that's already happening here. And I feel also energy that's coming up now in your belly that's moving and shifting, and it almost feels like it's rotating as it's moving around. So there's energy circulating around your belly. So right down below your navel, at your sacral chakra, which is your center for emotional, creative, and sexual energies. So this energy is moving, it's rotating, it's circulating, and I love that circulating word. And the circulation feels like I want to apply this circulation energy up into your lungs and up into your heart and your chest. Now, as I talk about that, a deeper pain or a deeper ache, a deeper pressure comes in over your chest, and it feels like it's pushing back now. So we had this energy pushing across, and now the energy is pushing back. And I feel like I'm even wanting to lean back into this. So really lean back and allow the energy to start to circulate again. And this circulation is really interesting here because of that giving and that receiving energy that circulates through. And we can also relate that to your in and your out breath that also circulates through. And the heart, of course, circulates all the oxygen and the blood throughout your entire body. So there's this just, and well, circulation, of course. So circulation in regards to the blood going around the body and the circulation of that energy and that life force through your body quite physically. So this is, and you can feel probably that the energy is moving quicker now. I feel like I'm speaking faster as well because I've figured out what this energy is. So sometimes it's hard to determine, especially at the beginning, because I just feel like a breathlessness or a pressure in here. And then I just got to try and figure out and describe it. And once I hit the nail on the head, the energy starts moving. So it brings up other feelings in the body, and the energy starts then picking up quite quickly. So we're tapping into this circulation, this circulating energy that's coming through. So it's moving through your belly as the energies and the emotions circulate in and out. And really flow could be another term that we use, but flow through and flow in and out. Now the energy up here at the chest that's now starting to circulate. So it's expanded across and it's circulating back. It's circulating and it's pushing up into the throat. So there's energy moving up here, which makes me feel that there's something perhaps that needs to be said, or something, air that needs to be cleared, or something that needs to be expressed to help keep this energy circulating. So instead of perhaps bottling up how you've been feeling, or bottling up the lack of life force, or the lack of receiving, or the lack of support perhaps that you've been getting, Susan, it feels to be important as this energy circulates and sort of reactivates itself again. It's like a oh, what do you I forget what you call the things that spark your heart. If your heart stopped beating on the operating table or something, they come in with those things that spark your heart, which has totally left my mind at the moment, so it doesn't really matter. But I feel like something's sparked, something's activated, something's life is being called forward again. So this is coming up into the throat, calling you to express and communicate and clear and keep this energy, clear the old and keep the energy circulating through what you have to say. So there might be something that needs to be communicated. It could also be listening to how you feel, Susan, and figuring out that, and then taking that out into your relationships or what you need to communicate with others potentially. So that's what I'm feeling for you today, Susan. It feels very focused in one specific place, really. And the card here to add here as we finish this off is, we'll go with this card from the second deck. Oh, thank you, defibrillator. I don't think I've even ever said that out loud before. Thanks, Tony. We've got Conquering Fear, card 104. And it says here, don't allow your insecurities to stop you from proceeding. Look at them, release, and then proceed. Summon your courage and overcome. Now that's very interesting, the preceding. So as the energy circulates through, you probably find this also reflects out into your life, Susan, as a feeling or an ability or a desire to proceed and to move forward. Perhaps you were feeling stuck and uncertain about the next move or the next step or what life calls to you at the moment, but I can feel this sort of circulating energies also connecting with proceeding or moving forward. So thanks, Susan. Thanks for your support, and I trust this resonates with you. Namaste. And as the energy moves on to, I feel my chest returning back to how it usually is. Which is not a complaint, it's just, I'm just saying that out loud, in case anyone's interested in how I connect. Now, the next person is this person, and we have you, Jackie. So Jackie, please take a nice big breath and let's see what comes up for you today. I feel an opening happening through the pelvis, so your base chakra at your tailbone really wants to stretch open. So physically it almost feels like it needs just like a big stretch, a big exercise session or something to really stretch through the body. It actually reminds me of there's an exercise in Koya, Qoya, and it's called heart opening. And it's quite physical, so you're doing exercises to open up the heart, but you're also doing exercises to open up your hips. And so it can be quite painful, but what it does is it really opens up and unstiffens the hips and the pelvis area. That's what's coming to mind as I first connect with you here, Jackie. But we'll grab a card and then we'll look a bit deeper into what we need to do. So we've got from the first deck, yes, we've got Illusion, card 32. So things may not be as they appear when this card usually comes up. Turn your inner truth detector on. The unknown can become your new reality, but you might not be able to see it yet. So things may not be as they appear or as they seem. So something shifting out of sight or something shifting out of view somehow is the feeling. But I'm still just drawn to your pelvis, your base chakra, your hips are just calling for this opening. So let's just look further into that. It feels like your hips, so this whole area I'm talking about, your hips, your pelvis, your tailbone, it's all connected with the base chakra, and it feels like it's all boarded up. So it's like, like an old building that no one lives in anymore, and the windows have all broken over time, and the windows then are boarded up to protect, I guess, the inside or something, or for safety or some whatever reason. But it feels like all around this area of your hips, your pelvis, your tailbone are all boarded up with old boards. So they've been boarded up for a while, old nails really nailed in, and almost like double boards just to make sure nothing's getting in there sort of feeling. So it's really boarded up through here, and quite big boards, like long boards. They feel as long as your legs. So they almost actually go down your entire leg energetically up to the top of your hips, and all around this area feels boarded up. So it's like a circular boarded up area. Very dense. There's no light getting in, and there's nothing getting out, and there's nothing getting in. So it's very boarded up energetically. Now this feels like it has its limitations. So not only in your ability to fully connect physically, because this is our most physical area, the base chakra is our physical chakras. We're looking at things like survival mode. So things like getting out of survival mode may be difficult just to get past a point. Sometimes we get to a point and then it's just hard to move past that on the physical, on the survival front. Also the hips, we're looking at direction and movement forward. We're also looking at something similar in the legs. So the legs are about the action and the movement, the motivation, the enthusiasm to move forward. And there may also be something here connecting with grounding. So being grounded, down to earth, we could say, flowing with the unfolding of the moments, especially in the physical sense, may also be things that may be under a bit of a spotlight or have a bit of a question mark around them, perhaps for you specifically in your life. So that's what I'm feeling are probably some of the effects of having these energetic boards up. So I feel like they're limiting you. I feel like it's very hard to step. It's very hard to move in your life. It's very hard to move forward, and perhaps even difficult in some ways to make like a decision that you can stick by and then follow through with. And the energy does tend to, when it's blocked off like this down here, it tends to just then feed out into the mind. So you might find that your mind is perhaps quite busy, and even when you have ideas come in, it might be fine. The ideas are no problem, but it's the backing it up with action that's probably where things become disconnected. So that's probably part of an effect too that you may have been feeling. But I feel like I would like to remove these boards, and I want to start here on the one that's just here over your right hip and remove these nails. So imagining and energetically pulling the nails out, that nail right here just above your hip and down the side of your right leg, all the way right into your right ankle. And that actually feels really painful and long. The nail that's going in here into your right ankle actually feels like it's probably affecting your stamina as well, because it feels like it's actually difficult to stand for long periods, and not necessarily physically, but just your stamina with things, being able to stick with something, maybe also I have a big question mark over it, because I feel especially this one on the right, this energetic nail on the right ankle here, it feels like it really affects your ability to stick with things in general. So removing that big long nail, I don't even know, like it should be poking out the other side. I mean, it is a long nail. So pulling that out and removing this board. And so already we've got this, just the little slither down here from your right hip down to your right ankle is already opening up and revealing. It feels like it's revealing skin, and it feels white, and it feels like it hasn't seen energy or hasn't seen life. It hasn't seen light for quite some time. So we just now go through from here, we just move around to the front and just unpin and pull out these nails. Some of them are longer than others, some of them are rustier than others, so older. Some of them are newer than others, so less rusty. Some of them are a little bit twisted and thin, some of them are really quite thick and embedded. So there feels to be quite a thick long one here, fresh one actually, right into your sacral chakra as well. So you're a center for emotional, creative and sexual energies. So pulling that out and just moving through. So pulling out the nails with my fingers. So just energetically plucking them out and removing the boards and removing the boards. So as we're working around your body, more light and more air, more warmth, more support is coming into these areas of your body that have been shut away and blocked up and boarded up for some time. So moving around now, we're getting to the left hip. So pulling those nails out down. There's one just above the knee on this side, on the left side, and down just above the ankle on the left side, and then removing the board. So I'm just laying all the boards out on the ground around you and working now around the back, round into your middle back as well. There's one there just right there in your lower back. So pulling that nail out and pulling down through and laying that board down until we get all the way back to where we started. And now all these boards are laying out. There must be about a dozen of them. And they're just laying out here like they've all just fallen flat out on the ground. And now they just soak down into the earth where they return back to love. And now there's this swirling energy coming through, and it's like a magenta pink. So a purpley pink, very intense pink. And it spirals around all this whole area now, just filling it up with love, actually. Filling it up with love and filling it up with life force and movement again, to help you reactivate your ability to move, your ability to follow through, your ability to have a more stamina and endurance, and just help get this energy flowing through here. So it's really circulating quite strongly and intensely. It's moving into the little sort of holes where the energetic nails were, so filling up that area. Now that bright magenta pink light is replaced by a white light that's coming in and bringing a fresh new energy into this lower part of your body. So from your hips, the top of your hips, so your waist actually, we could say, down, all this area now feels activated and alive again. So it might, over the next couple of days, let that energy settle, and hopefully it will help revive you on the action front and revive you in the physical side as well. So I'll leave that with you, Jackie. Hope that makes sense. Here's your card to add here as we finish up. And we have this from the second deck. We have radiance. So this is the light that's coming through now. So the light that's coming from within, glow from within, shine your light. Be at peace with yourself and be at peace with others. So this is the light coming through as a radiance. So let yourself receive this radiance, this light, and I trust it helps replace those old boards, those old energetic boards. So thanks, Jackie. Thanks so much. Namaste. I trust this resonates. Okay, let's see who's next. Oh, yeah. Oh, good. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, next person is Nicki Mohler. Nicki, please take a nice big breath. Okay, first thing I'm picking up with you, Nicki, is this swaying energy. So it's like a sway, like you're on a boat or something. It's a lull feeling, like a sway from side to side. The best card to start this connection, Nicki, is this. It's the male support. So this is like a strength and independence, a leadership energy that's coming through, especially in your ability to see ahead. So seeing ahead clearly in your life, or clearly for your life moving forward. There is a sense of masculine energy that's coming through for that, which we may see as a male support. Now, a male support or a masculine support, which we can also look at maybe like a father, the archetypical father support, would probably be more protective, whereas the female or the mother or the maternal sort of support tends to be more nurturing. So the feminine's more nurturing, the masculine tends to be more protective. This is a protective, more masculine energy that's coming through to protect you too as you move forward, and protect you as you hone in and focus your vision. So as your body's swaying, it's like a lull, it's like a swaying, I'm just feeling on the right words here. It does feel like you're in a boat and the boat is just gently rocking from side to side. So there's this rocking in your body, like your body's a boat on the water and you're being rocked, you're being lulled. Now it feels nice. It feels like, it reminds me too of this tapping into center. And what I mean by that is being fairly musical is musical instruments, like we've got when a musical note is in tune, it lines up with the tuning note, or the note, whatever you're tuning to. If it's not in tune, it sort of has this whoa, whoa, whoa sound that sometimes is very difficult to detect, but it's just not quite right matching up with that note. It's not quite in tune. So there is this feeling of like a tapping into center, a retuning that's taking place at the moment. And I feel like I want to leave your body doing this, because maybe there's something you're doing at the moment that's bringing you back into center, that's tapping you into center, or retuning you up to your tuning note, or getting back into alignment. So I want to leave this rocking. It feels very nourishing, actually. It's a nourishing lull kind of feeling that's bringing you back into center, and it feels slow. There feels like a patience here, patiently bringing it back into center, patiently getting yourself back on track and back into focus again. And talking about focus, I can feel this strong energy like a force coming out of your third eye chakra, and it feels like an arrow has just been sent from a bow inside your head from your third eye. So an arrow's been shot forward, and the arrow is moving towards the target. So there is this sense of strong intuition to begin with, but especially strong focus on the target and focus on where you're going and what is the target, what is the goal, what is the aim here. It feels like something very specific, that you're aiming for a target. So you're aiming for this thing or that thing, that specific thing. And I feel like you're moving towards that, almost like sailing towards that in this beautiful rocking boat as you sail towards whatever it is that the goal that you've set yourself. That's very specific. It feels specific. So it could be like a holiday, but it feels like more than that. But just as an example, it could be a holiday that you've got the dates booked, you know where you're going, you're organising your accommodation or whatever, but it's a specific target. So there's a specific target I feel that is likely already known to you, because I feel like this arrow has already come forth from your third eye. So your intuition is strong with this, and your focus on the target is also strong. So you can trust that. You don't need to second guess it. And what I would be doing is just really rocking yourself towards it. I mean, it sounds a bit weird, but it sort of feels like you're the boat and you're sailing towards this aim or this target. Like I'm literally seeing like a bullseye, a target, and you're sailing towards it. So as you sail there, it takes time. So it's not something that's happening tomorrow, but something that you're rocking your way there with the rocking of the boat and the movement of things. And this is an opportunity between now and when the target date arrives, is for you to really refine and hone in and further define your balance in yourself, and that being in tune spiritually, but also being in tune physically, and being in tune with others that you are on the same or similar wavelength to. So this is, I think, a reminder for you, Nikki. I feel like that you're on track, and hopefully what I've been sharing maybe explains some of the things that you've been feeling, perhaps in a different way, that you can use to help you feel more clarity. So I'm going to pull a card to finish this off. And the best card is... let's go with this. It's from the second deck. And we have card 77, Call for Help. So this is a signal. This is the call that you're putting out. Be open to giving or receiving assistance. Signal. Let help come. Reach out. Make the announcement. Support and communicate. Make the announcement really just feels underlined here. And I wonder if this is to do with the target or the aim, the plan that you have, that you're moving towards. Maybe it's something that's private and you're preparing to make an announcement or put out the call or the signal that this is happening. That's the feeling I have here. So I trust this makes sense, Nikki. Makes no sense to me. Hopefully it does to you. Thanks for connecting, and thank you for your support. Namaste. Okie dokie. So we've got 3 more people I'm connecting with. So let's see who's next. Next person is this person. Oh, tightly packed up here in a little... that's Carol. Carol White. Take a nice big breath, please, Carol. Oh, hi, Jane. Okay, so you're still to come, Jane. Carol, you're now. So nice big breath. And your best card to start this connection is this one from the first deck. And we have Breaking Free. This feels pretty self-explanatory just in the title. breaking free of the limitations, breaking free of the confinement, breaking free of the suppression or the box that you now find yourself in, and this sense of branching out into more, branching out into new areas and new experiences and new people and new things. And it feels like it's a branching out really from the heart. So it's like a return to the heart, like you've returned to your heart, perhaps in recent weeks or months, a return to the heart. And from the heart, this is where you're breaking free and really branching out. And I love those words that just feel so strong and so grounded, and so much like a really strong old tree branching out, and those strong branches that just twist out and out from the trunk. So this branching out, this breaking free feeling is really, you're bursting through the barriers that you once felt or have felt in your heart. So it's like a membrane or a skin over your heart, and this pushing from the inside, trying to get through that barrier or trying to get through that skin, and not being able to for a while. But as you return to your heart, there is this sense that this skin or the membrane split, like the cocoon splitting as the caterpillar is transformed into the butterfly, and then it stretches itself and the cocoon splits. So it's like the cocoon of your heart splits, or has split, and out comes these tree branches and this tree trunk. In fact, it feels the body is your tree trunk, and these are branches, really old branches. So they were a bit twisted, sort of growing in this confined place. And then the time was right, and they broke through the barrier that was here at your heart. So this barrier, this skin, this film, this membrane, it's like like a second skin. It doesn't need to be there. I don't feel that it's a problem that it's split, because I feel like it's actually set a part of you free. Another way of looking at it would be if your heart was a bird cage. It's like you found the door of the bird cage and you're letting the birds out of your heart. So there's some potential and some trapped energy, some trapped potential that has been brewing and bubbling and growing away here within your heart and within your body, Carol. And it's just the right time now for that door to be opened and the birds to be set free, or for that caterpillar to leave from the cocoon as the butterfly, or as this tree branch is growing and breaking free out from your heart. So there's an extension that's happening through here, an expansion, and it's very forward moving. Like all this energy feels like it's coming out the front, even though it's front and slightly to the side, it's coming out the front. So it feels like that you're being called into life that's before you, called into the potential that awaits you in the days and the weeks and the months and the years to come. So it's very much life pulling you. And I get the vision now of like Snow White, and she's got all the little birds pulling on her clothing, trying to get her to go in this direction. So life and the life force and all the little creatures and critters and little pets in your life have been calling you, enticing you into this new phase and this new chapter. So there's this bursting open feeling in the heart, which feels very grounded, but very loving. It's like there is an excitement here, but it feels very mature and very patient and very calm, this excitement. It feels quite beautiful. And it's lifting up too in your body. So not only are these branches pulling forward, they're also lifting up. So there's an uplifting feeling too at the prospect, at the knowing of what's coming and the life that calls you, and this Pandora's box in some ways that you've opened, and these beautiful things are revealing themselves. It's like rose petals and flowers and birds, and there's just all this life and beauty in this treasure chest that you're opening now in your life. This is also bringing a rush of energy up through your head, helping clear your mind and give you something new to focus on. And this is also uplifting and strengthening your connections to spirit. So it feels really beautiful. Yeah, really lovely. So I trust that makes sense, Carol. Let's grab a card to add here to finish this off. And the best card is this. Second deck. It is a disintegration. This is interesting. Things falling apart to come back together again in a new way and better way. Release your hold. The glue is melting. Transformation, which is very much aligned with what I was talking about. Reforming, so reforming things in your life. And the new. This is really interesting card to get. So it's suggesting that the glue is melting on the old. What used to be important to you is melting away. The things you valued about your everyday life, melting away. And things are changing. Things are disintegrating so they can be reconstituted again in a new and better way. And who knows what's possible. And here is that wonderful stag that guides you forward during times of change. Yes, beautiful. Thank you, Carol. I trust this resonates, and thank you for your support. Namaste. Oh, I just realised I didn't bring a drink in today. That's all right. I think I'll be fine. But now I've realised I don't have a drink. It probably, you know, it's like an itch when you're in meditation. Or an itch that you can't scratch. The more attention you give it, the louder it gets. So, next person is Jane. Jane Corlett. So Jane, take a nice big breath. And let's see what comes up for you today. So the best card to start is this. Healing Energy Cards, Deck 1. And we've got Improvement, card 101. 101, Improvement. Tight, stress, uncomfortable, trapped, chained, bound. Release, unbind, cut away unhealthy ties, attachments, and addictions. Keep your light on. So there's a feeling of moving out of or away from a chained and trapped and perhaps light dimming time. And that the chains are breaking now. In fact, I can feel as I connect with your energy, Jane, I can feel chains that have become chains that have broken, chains that have bound you up. Like if I reflect on your energy just from what I'm feeling now from say a year ago, it feels like there's all these chains just locked up and wrapped up around you, and they're coming in from all different sides and places, and they're just wrapping you up, and it feels really constricting and tight, especially in your body and in your chest. Very tight. So over the last year, a lot of these chains have been broken or have fallen away. So I'm feeling the marks of the chains in your body, especially across your chest. Your chest feels quite tender right now as I connect with it. So it feels like there's like the impression of a chain across here, and the impression of chain across various parts of your body, like the impression that's left from where the chains were. I also feel a couple of remnant chains, and also some chain hanging off you, especially off your hips and the upper parts of your legs, that feel like they're still there, but they're loose. So like loose chains. So there are still some chains there. I want to remove them. I feel like I want to get out like a chainsaw, like an energetic chainsaw, and just cut them with a chainsaw. So I'm going to, so I imagine that I've got this chainsaw, and I'm just coming up the front of your body and cutting all the chains that still are there, that are still present. Actually, there's one up here too on the top of your head. So cutting all the way up through here with a chainsaw that can cut through chains. and just releasing the hold of those. And now the last remnants of chains just drop down, drop it over your body. You can feel the cool, the cold. Actually, they're not even just cool, they are cold. They are freezing chains. They are very cold, very heavy chains, almost like a chains a prisoner might wear. So it feels like a prison, a real trapped feeling here as the chains pull down your body and roll down your body, and as you let them go. So they brush down past your hands, which is really important as you let them go, and brush down your legs, and now they just sit in a pile around your feet. And now the chains just gently soak down into the earth and return back to love. Whew. And there's already just almost an instant feeling of lightness. And it's a lightness, especially a lightness in weight. Things felt heavy. There's a heaviness, even though they didn't feel as heavy 5 minutes ago as they did, say, a year ago. There is still that heaviness that was still quite present. So that heaviness is now turned into a lightness. And now I just want to address these impressions, especially the chain impression over the heart, because that felt like a big one. Now it feels like the chain has been removed. It feels like it's not there today when I connected before. There's just the impression. So it's still leaving an impression. It's like an echo of the chain or something, or like an echo of the chain. So what are we going to do here? It feels very thick, about as thick as your wrist actually, this chain, heavy through here. And also it felt like its job was to cover your heart, to chain your heart, but also chain your arms down. So it felt like it wrapped around the lower part of your shoulders to try and keep your arms still so that you couldn't do things. And you could only do things almost like pivoting from the elbow instead of pivoting from the shoulder. So there is a limitation in action, a limitation in being able to create or do things with your hands, and perhaps even a issue around giving and receiving that may have come into play as well. So what are we going to do here? So I feel this, it's like a soft pinky color, so it's a very gentle, loving energy, but it's like a cloth. It's like a linen or a silk or something. I'm not very good with fabric textures, but it's a lightweight material or fabric. And I just feel like I want to just gently put it around this area. So we've got your heart, the upper part, the lower part of your shoulders, on your arms, and also the upper part. Yeah, so it's around the back of your heart, so just up from your middle back. So fairly high up in the middle of your back. Just gently wrapping it in, and not tightly, just gently in this beautiful soft pink cloth. And it feels almost like this is a bandage of sorts, and the energy of this cloth sort of feels static against your skin, and it pulls in, and it pulls like POOL, pulls into the impressions that the chain left and starts filling in those indentations that were impressed energetically in these parts of your body. And so it's almost moving into like a paste, I suppose, and just filling up the little holes that have been made, the indentations. And so all of that cloth is now soaked into these areas and filled the holes, the spaces, the impressions that were made, so that the whole area now is smooth. And you've got these little pink energies that are holding in there, which are going to continue to do their work, is the feeling, to help really clear and resolve the echo from the chain, the echo from that trapped energy that you experience. So this is to help free you. This is to help free you from that trapped feeling. So like you were imprisoned, and that the chains have been removed energetically, and you're free to leave the prison. It feels like some confinement of sorts, like a bit of an energetic prison cell, could even be mental as well, that you've perhaps felt like you've been in. And just gently allowing yourself out of that confining place and getting your, it feels like a mojo back, getting your mojo back is the feeling too. So hope and trust that makes sense for you, Jane. Let's grab a card to add here as we finish up. And the best card is, well, let's go with this one. It's from the second deck. And it is Radiance, which has already come up. But this is a really beautiful energy to have. So it's the light now that radiates from you, not that feeling of being trapped and confined. So a light is pulling you, a warmth is pulling you, life is pulling you out of that confining place that you once found yourself but have been continuing to move out of over this period of time. So light radiates from within, life radiates from within, and a lightness, isn't it? It's a lightness too, whereas before things felt heavy. So as far as heavy and light, it is a lightness in weight. So thanks, Jane. I trust this resonates, and thank you for your support. Namaste. Okay, that means our last person here is, it is KantiDevi Wedad. So welcome and thank you, Kanti. Take a nice big breath and let's see what is loudest in your energy today. So the best card to start, there's an energy that's really feels like jumping beans, excitement, and it's pushing up through in a quite a strange place. It's like pushing up through the shoulder blades, and it's coming up from beneath the shoulder blades and up to the top, and then lifting up past the shoulders, so up past the body. And it's just this waves of energy that's pushing up like little fireflies or little jumping beans, and that are moving up through here. So really lifting up through. Also, this area tends to be where we hold our burdens. So the energy feels like it's helping lighten the load and lighten the burden that you're putting on yourself. So there is a lightness. It feels like beautiful light, a summer's dress or something. There's a feeling there too, which seems like it's unrelated, but for some reason it reminds me of that. So this is the Healing Energy Cards 1, and it is card 1, Enchantment. So this is walking lightly, and this is that lightness, and it feels like a beautiful, nice summer's dress that just feels nice, and the fabric feels nice, and there's this sense of lightness. Grounding, spend time in nature, and there is this feeling here too of looking within. So it's like turning and looking into the tree, looking into yourself, and sitting here on a bed of crystals. There's also ideas, fantasies perhaps that are playing out, thinking about what's next, dreaming new dreams, that kind of thing. So you might be a bit in fantasy land, let's say, in regards to your thoughts about what you want to do moving forward. So this jumping bean, kind of firefly, kind of tickly, uplifting energy that's moving through the back. I feel like this might sound weird, but it feels like if we were to have wings, like butterfly wings, it feels like it would extend from this area. So I feel like in some ways it's like your wings preparing to sprout out here at your shoulder blades. So something's wanting to grow. It's like a seed under the surface of the soil, and the seed's moving in here, it's starting to grow. So it kind of pushes up the soil, and the soil starts feeling the movement before it pokes through as a sprout or whatever. So there's that feeling, like this jumpy feeling, like something's shifting under the surface, like wings are preparing to push through the surface of your shoulder blades here, which are very interesting. It feels like you're moving into or you've expanded into this period of transformation, but it's a transformation like no other. It's a transformation perhaps deeper and wider and more expansive than you've probably ever felt in your life. And it feels perhaps more spiritual in nature, less physical in nature, even though you might be feeling it physically. It feels very spiritual. So it's on higher vibrations, higher levels. Even we could say in other dimensions is this transformation that's taking place. It almost feels to me like you're birthing your light body, and your light body is appearing. If your light body, how I'm just feeling it now as I connect with you, Kanti, is like you've got your physical body, and then it feels like your light body's inside your physical body. So it feels like your light body, if your light body had wings, then your light body's wings are sort of pushing on the surface of your skin or of your surface of your physical body there at your shoulder blades, really wanting to push through. So as the wings prepare to push through, and they feel like they want to push through with a sort of point, as they push through, it also makes all the outside, it feels like the outside in the physical, so energetically in the physical, crumble away. And then the crumbling of the external, the crumbling of the outward, the crumbling of the flaws and the insecurities and the smallness and the doubt and the illusion of who you've thought you were but you aren't. So it's like the truth comes in and replaces and disperses of that which is illusion. So the truth, the light of truth is wanting to shine through. Now, as far as the color of this light, it feels like a very soft gold, so a light golden color, and it doesn't feel like too bright. It just feels like a soft light colored gold, and I can feel it pushing through. So the shoulder blades are just a start, because I can feel this full crumbling down of the external parts of you, the walls that you've had up, the things that have been limiting you, the things that are aligned with illusion, that are not aligned with the truth of who you are. So it feels to be a real breakthrough in perhaps quite a literal sense, as you really break down yourself, break down your body, break down the rigidity of your belief system as well, breaking all that down and letting the light of truth shine forth from within. It replaces that was rigid and hard and stiff and limiting. So it's a birthing of sorts too. It's a rebirthing. It reminds me of the report that I wrote this morning about the birthing through and moving out of confined spaces and places. But this is quite physical in your body, is how I'm feeling it here, Kanti. And your third eye chakra is popping open. And what I'm feeling like is I've sort of fast forward and I can see the full crumbling here. But I feel like at the moment it's just like the start of it pushing through your shoulder blades. And I can see what is to come, this full crumbling. So my suggestion is just to keep letting go, keep surrendering. Let the old ways crumble. Let the old beliefs and the old systems and the old programming, let all that old stuff crumble. That anything and everything that does not align with your highest truth, that is not truth, let it go. So it's a real peeling back feeling too. Very strong. And it feels beautiful. So you can probably feel something's coming or something shifting, and hopefully this perspective might help give you some further clarity or further different perspective on what might be going on for you, Kanti. I trust this makes sense. Let's grab a card to add here. And the best card is, and I can feel, just as I'm preparing to pull this card, I can feel also just down from your neck. So almost actually at the back of your heart, right there on your spine, I can feel another energy that's wanting to push up from the inside. So it's like a, well, it's this light being within you pushing forward, but it feels almost like a little spike or a little, you know how some reptiles have like, or dragons, for example, have like scales or spikes that run down their spine. That's what it feels like. It's wanting to push up through the back of your heart. And it feels quite tender as it's doing that. So it might be quite sensitive in your body as this transformation takes place. And the feeling I have is probably over the next week or two that this will take place. And the best card to add here is this from the second deck. Oh, yes, speaking of dragons. So there's probably a dragon connection here then. Card 98, Dragon's Breath. I love this card. It says the power of your breath. Speak up, let it out, see it through. Don't underestimate yourself. Breathe out and release. Avoid bottling up and courage. So this is a representation too of this energy that's wanting to push through from within you and replace that rigidity and the density and the solidness of the exterior that you've been trained or programmed to be based on society and life and conditioning and all that kind of thing. So we could say too that this light energy, this light being within you that's wanting to shine forth, there's a dragon element here. Now, dragons are also known as the guardians between order and chaos. So it's probably not really surprising that the dragons come up too as you move through this period of shift, this period of change, this period of really quite personal transformation. So work with your breath. You'll probably find that helpful as well. So thanks, Kanti. Very interesting. I trust this resonates. Thank you very much for your support. And thank you, everybody, for being here and for your support. If you've had quite a physical healing experience, if you've been feeling things in your body quite strongly, then I recommend that you drink lots of water. Oh, yeah, speaking of water, I'll go and get some in a minute. Drink lots of water, listen to your body, and be kind and gentle with yourself as you allow the healing to settle and find its place in your body and in your life. So thanks very much. Thank you for your support this month, February, and I look forward to connecting with you again in March if you're inspired to stay or if you'd like to join and be a part of this experience next time. Thank you very much and have a great rest of your day. Namaste. Thank you.